Well, we are taking an early look at the potential for severe weather for early next week, Monday and Tuesday across the plains. A big storm hits the west coast this weekend that will be the culprit. So this is pretty early, and this has been for a couple of days in the long-range outlook from the Storm Prediction Center, watching the southern plains for increasing chance of severe weather. 30% odds right now, putting out there in the early risk. So the culprit is going to be this big upper level low, which is slamming into the west coast over the weekend. It's going to bring soaking rains for Oregon, Washington, California. But the bigger story will be the severe weather that it produces across the plains as it moves out of the Rockies early next week. So quite a bit of moisture, mostly Oregon into California. We're talking a couple of inches of rain, probably some snow in the higher elevations in the Sierra Nevada. So more of the same compared to the winter that's been going there. And this is getting a little late in the season. April is usually when we start to see the West Coast moisture, at least further south in California, shut off. But that's going to produce quite a bit of moisture as well across much of the U.S. too. The central and eastern U.S. is in for a pretty decent amount of precipitation as well, which is desperately needed. So this is the NAM model, the North American model. This is just on its radar, no pun intended, Monday. It goes out 84 hours, and we've got a significant tornado parameter that stretches from Nebraska into Texas. Now, the models have been trending a little further north with maybe some of the worst of this weather, so that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on over the weekend. Here's 4 different model scenarios of CAPE, or the convective available potential energy, or that instability necessary for thunderstorms. Broad area from South Dakota all the way to Texas. So we're going to watch the upper level low hit California this weekend, kind of get stretched out over the Rockies, and then as it moves into the plains, this is going to rapidly develop into a pretty volatile situation Monday and Tuesday. And another low comes in behind it. This one will maybe bring some snow to the northern states here, North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, by later in the week. But one thing at a time. So here's Saturday. Pretty wet weekend for California, it looks like, and Oregon as well. And then Monday, as this thing moves out of the plains, we're going to see that cold front and all of these dynamics come together to produce a couple of rounds of severe weather Monday and Tuesday with that system. And then there's that snow potential with the second system, and maybe another round of severe weather in the south central U.S. So the jet stream is going to be hugging that upper level low, pretty strong jet. Once this comes out of the Rockies, wherever the jet, those upper level winds are strongest, is where we also tend to see lots of shear, which is necessary for organizing storms. That's directional shear or speed shear, meaning winds moving in different directions or at different speeds in the same direction. There's going to be a lot of shear across the central and southern plains come late Monday. Combined with all that, helping to factor into that shear is this low-level jet stream. Winds at about 4,000 feet up are going to be over 60 miles an hour across parts of Kansas into Oklahoma. That is warm, humid air in the low levels really feeding into the system. At the same time, we're going to have this cold front and dry line coming out of Texas and the western plains here into portions of Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas. And all of this is going to allow, over the course of the next couple of days, those dew points to really increase, and that moisture will thicken up in the central and southern plains. So this is the European model's lightning forecast, storms late Monday, and then again on Tuesday, and then Monday night too, those storms will keep going. So we've got a couple of potential rounds of severe weather. And then as we head towards Tuesday, the early risk right now is looking for far southeastern Minnesota into Louisiana and Texas. Broad area of more storms from the same storm system, but shifting east. So one of the things we look at are analogs, which means we look at the computer model data and try to compare it to previous years or previous outbreaks. What does it compare to? And give us a better idea of maybe where the highest probability of severe weather is right now. And the analogs for Monday are looking at Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. Tuesday, that area shifts east, but from Texas into Minnesota is where the highest probability of potential severe weather is. So we're going to have to watch that. This would be the first round of severe weather of the season for some of the northern states if this happens. So those are some of the things we're watching over the weekend. We'll update it again early next week.